Welcome back, everyone, to a brand new episode of The Crew Review.
For you.
For you.
We're doing it differently this time, as you can see if you're on Facebook. If not, you can probably hear the difference on the audio podcast because we're all doing this through Zoom right now. And we have taken a break from doing it because Jennifer had the baby. And so we had to take some time off to learn how to keep him alive. And we are back.
Still keeping him alive.
We're still keeping him alive. That sounded bad. And he will make an appearance at some point, which would be fun. So anyway, how's everybody?
Spectacular.
Doing great.
Great. Well,
we miss being with everybody in podcast land. We miss telling you our opinions and feelings of movies. So we're excited that you get to hear this again.
Yes. And we have, let's see, what is today's date? 6. 2 weeks from tomorrow, the movie theaters will reopen. At least.
Today's actually the 7th.
Oh, today is the 7th. Thank you for correcting
Today
me.
is Carson's due date.
2 weeks from today, the theaters reopen, and we're very excited.
We've been waiting for so long.
As you guys know, we started this podcast to do movies that were in theaters, and we've just been doing whatever since. But that's okay. And we decided to go with an older one that's just one of our favorites, which is Ocean's 11 for this one. So the 2000 and what year was it? 2008?
I don't know.
2001.
2001. I was off only by 7 years.
19 years old. It's an oldie.
Yeah. Wow.
It's 19. Oh,
wow.
It's going
That's
off
great.
to college now.
It's a legal adult.
Sophomore. They grow up so fast. Anyway, so we did Ocean's 11, not the old one, but the more recent one. Anyway, so shall we get started with this? Anything else we want to talk about before we get into it?
I say let's go.
Let's do it. Beth, hit us with that summary.
Just a reminder, this is the spoiler zone, but also this movie is 19 years old, so a warning.
It's your own fault. It's your own fault if you haven't seen it.
That's right. It's your own fault for sure. So, Ocean's 11, for those of you who've been under a rock and don't know what this movie is about, it tells the story of Danny Ocean, who was recently released from prison, and his 10-person crew as they pull off a high-stake crime, robbing not one, not two, but 3 casinos in Las Vegas: the Bellagio, the Mirage, and the MGM Grand. All of these casinos happen to be owned by the same man, Harry Benedict, who happens to be dating Danny Ocean's ex-wife, Tess. So now, is this just an excellent target? Is it a story of revenge? Or is this just the ultimate big romantic gesture? We'll find out. The movie follows Danny and his right-hand man, Rusty, as they recruit professional thieves to help them get away with this $163 million jackpot. So they case the joint, they make plans, they prepare, and they send the viewers on a wild ride as we see how they rob this casino on fight night of all nights, because the jackpot is highest when there's a fight in Vegas. So now, after all of this, and we think the movie is done and they have robbed the casino, we find out how they really did it. Big twist. And not only did they pull off this giant heist, but they did it with the unwilling help of Terry Benedict himself. Quite the plot twist. All of them get away with their 11th portion of this prize, except for Danny Ocean, who spends a vague 3 to 6 months in jail. We're not really sure where he landed at that time frame, just for breaking his parole. But in the end, he wins his wife back and claims his portion of the money. So who says crime never pays off? And that's the plot of Ocean's 11.
Well done, Beth.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but it took me several viewings of this movie, just over the years that I've watched it, to fully grasp the story, because I missed so many things. And it's like everything in this movie, it's very subtle. And if you even are like out of the room for 30 seconds, you can miss a whole lot, because they just drop such subtle little things that you need to retain in your memory for the movie, which is interesting. Which I mean, it's fine. I like it. It makes you think, stay on your toes as you watch it. But at the same time, it's not something you can just watch relaxed and get the whole story.
It's true.
I agree. And it's very fast paced from the beginning. And so you've got pieces that they're going to touch on it towards the beginning that they're not going to reference again towards the end as well. And so you've kind of got to be paying attention, be all in. And I'm with you, John. It took me a few watches to fully grasp this movie, but got a pretty good handle on it now. Pretty sure I know everything.
19 years in. We're golden.
19. It took 19 years.
Yeah. I honestly don't remember the first time I saw it. I just remember I've always have seen it.
This was
My first time was last year.
Ashley's first time was last year. Mine was this morning,
I thought you had seen them before.
yesterday.
Wow.
No?
Just 8.
Make me feel better. Thanks, Jennifer.
I didn't know that. Wow.
So y'all were the ones hiding under the
Chime in.
rock.
Mom hadn't seen it either, so
Well, how did you feel about it first viewing?
it was good.
Could you tell it was something you had to watch more than once?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Kelly just told me everything that I missed as I was watching it. He's like, I bet you didn't catch this. I'm like, no, I didn't.
She needed. It's been 19 years. I mean,
Well,
we needed.
yeah. I thought you were just asking questions because you hadn't seen it in a while. I didn't realize. I had no idea. Well, you played it off really well.
Thanks. That's what I do.
I have to tell you a funny story about Ashley watching this movie.
Please
So,
do.
Oh, here for it.
a few weeks ago, I said we should watch Ocean's 12 because we watched Ocean's 11 and we never got around to watching Ocean's 12. She's like, we didn't watch Ocean's 11. I said, yeah, we did. Like months ago, we watched Ocean's 11. She said, no, we didn't. Like, well, maybe I confused it with like my family or something. I said, well, we can watch Ocean's 11 again. 5 minutes in the movie, I remember this. Another 5 minutes, I remember this too. 15 minutes in, I think we watched Ocean's 11. I said, great. So glad it made such an impact in your life. So that was earlier this year. And then we watched it again in preparation for the pod. So
I feel like I've done that before on like movies that have just been on TV, just tuning in and being like, oh, what is this movie? I've seen this before. I don't know why I know what's going to happen next, but I do.
I watch a movie and I get to the end and it's at the very end of the movie. It's like, wait, I've seen this before.
Oh, that is awful.
Did you see Ocean's 8?
Yes.
You did? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the only one you've seen of them? Okay. So she's
That's
seen
the only one
Ocean's
in it,
8.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen
Yes,
it many times.
Gotcha.
I
Cool.
like it.
So, impressions when you watch this movie. When you walk away from this movie, what does it make you want to do?
Steal things.
No.
Definitely commit a crime.
Rob the casino.
Get up.
Makes you want to go to Vegas.
Makes me want to go to Vegas and get a baller suit of imported silk.
Always a win. You can never go wrong with a great suit.
Makes me want to play blackjack.
There you go. Play
I don't know how to play.
You want to It makes me want to carry a snack around all the time and just eat like Rusty does all the time.
Yes.
Just
Yeah, every time he was snacking, I felt like maybe I should get up and go get something.
I
hungry.
would love to know how many snacks Brad Pitt had to eat during the course
Oh
of
man, because he was really
like, is
eating them.
he over suckers and hamburgers for a while just because of how many takes they would have to do? Did he ruin some
So
of his favorite foods?
I read why he did that. He said it originally started because the movie production time was kind of squished, and so they always had to be eating on the go. And so he just decided to be eating his lunch during the takes. And
He needs
so
to make
he's-
healthier decisions on his food intake.
I know, but he decided it would be a good kind of take for Rusty. So he figured it would kind of kill two birds with one stone. So
Mm.
there you go.
I love it. Way to be practical.
When we were watching the first part where you find Rusty teaching the movie stars how to play poker, Jennifer was
I
like,
was like-
the whole time Jennifer kept saying, "Oh, that's so and so from so and so. That's so and so from so and so,"
Look,
and I was
it's
like,
Eric Foreman,
"Yeah, like from that '70s show." And
the girl from Charmed, and then the kid from.
Holly Marie Combs from Charmed.
I never
Yeah.
made any of these
I was
connections.
like, I know her. She's from Charmed.
I was like, she's from Charmed, Topher Grace. I was like, yeah, I know these people. That was
And
exciting.
then from A Walk to Remember, I mean, they just had a bunch of people around that table.
Who was the other one that you caught? It was Eric and then the Charmed girl. Oh, who was it from Supernatural?
Oh, Sam from Supernatural.
Was that him? No. Okay.
It looked like him.
Never mind.
looked like him.
I would have freaked the freak out if Sam from Super.
Are you sure? Who's that guy then? Where's he from? In the one.
Let me look at it because I've
I think
looked
it's
up
Ian,
the.
it's Ian Somerhalder from Vampire Diaries and Lost, right?
I don't know.
The guy I'm thinking of, I don't think was on Lost because I saw Lost. Could be misremembering. I thought it was the guy from Supernatural.
I love that scene when he's like,
It's
You
not
have-
Dean, it's Sam.
"You have 3 pairs in a 5-card game."
It's probably a 5-card game.
Like that should be the easiest thing to remember is I'm only supposed to have 5 cards.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
There's a
So
lot
we've
that
got-
happens on that. What?
Sorry, go ahead. There is a lot that happens during that card game. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I just love how he they haven't seen each other in years, and they set these celebrities up for failure and
Oh, yeah.
take the money. Like as soon as he says, like, okay, my partner's back. We both know how we're gonna operate in this situation.
Yeah,
Like no words. They know what they're gonna do now. You know, it's just
Mhm.
funny.
and that's something I didn't catch the first couple times I watched it, but then I was like, "Oh, they planned that the whole time. They knew exactly what they were doing."
Absolutely.
Little things like that.
So, the celebrities that are that Brad Pitt or Rusty's teaching to play poker, we've got Topher Grace, who is from that '70s show, Joshua Jackson from Dawson's Creek, Holly Marie Combs from Charmed, who had a guest star role on Grey's Anatomy this fall. That was exciting. Shane West from A Walk to Remember, and Barry Watson from Seventh Heaven.
The Seventh Heaven guy, I didn't know. Oh, so that guy
Yeah,
was
you did.
him.
You did look at me, and you're like, "Isn't that
I
guy
was
from
like, that's the
Seventh
kid from
Heaven?"
Seventh Heaven.
And I was like, "I don't remember.
him.
I haven't seen that show in a bajillion
I don't know their
years."
names, but I know at least.
An oldie but a goodie.
Yeah. All right, shall we dig into some of these questions, Beth?
Yes. Okay. If you were to be one of these thieves, which one would you want to be and why? What skill would you want the most?
Well, my first instinct is be Rusty because he gets all the snacks, and he's also
That's your
like
first instinct?
in charge with Danny, and it's nice to be in charge.
I like it. I like
Yeah.
it.
I, without a doubt, would be Saul. I 100% would be
Yes.
Saul.
I
That
knew
is
was
you.
gonna be
That
your
is
answer.
you.
Kinley's a
Or he has always been he and Ruben are my two favorite characters. And Ruben. The only reason I'm pulling a Saul is because Saul's got a more active role. Ruben's kind of the financier and oversees a lot of different pieces. but both of them. But actively, I would be Saul,
Hmm.
and played by the spectacular Carl Reiner, who just died a few weeks ago.
All right.
I don't know if you.
I did
So
not.
I
anyway,
recognized his
Yeah.
face. Yeah.
yeah, his son is Rob Reiner, who directed Princess Bride. There you go.
Princess Bride. I love it.
That
That
reaction.
is such an intense reaction.
I love Princess Bride. Sorry.
Gotcha. It gotcha. Real deep.
Who would you be?
Did. I gotta look up the
I'd be
character.
one of those brothers that's arguing all the time to distract everybody else. Who has probably I'd probably be the one that has the motorized truck racing the monster truck.
Oh, I
Like-
could totally see you pulling that off.
They argue in order to cause all these distractions, but those are all like legitimate brother fights that they're just getting paid $11 million
That one
to
is
have.
Korean where they just get at each other and it's completely unnecessary. It's like these are brothers being brothers.
I read that Luke Wilson were in talks to play those two brothers, but it
Oh,
didn't.
really?
Yeah.
So, and most of the celebrities in here had to take most of the actors had to take a huge pay decrease because of the number of big names. They just had to kind of spread the money across. So they didn't get as much, but they just loved the project and went for it. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Is there a way to look
didn't know
at
that.
just the main characters? on
Just the
here?
main
I have to look at
characters?
them. I figure out which one I would want to be.
I don't know. Maybe look at IMDb. You have it on your phone?
I would 100% want to be Rusty. Like, he's the one who gets everything done.
That's what I'm saying.
You want this because of the snacks.
And
That was
because
your
he's
first thing you
and
mentioned.
well, also he's in charge. He knows what's going on.
but the
he's
first
calling
thing
the
you said
shots
was
with Danny.
because he's got all the snacks.
Yeah. Here, take
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I'm not denying
That's
that.
the sass that Rusty has too.
Do what?
You have the sass that Rusty has. You have Rusty sass.
I like it. Rusty sass.
Got rusty sass.
Yes. Oh, so good. Yeah, he just gets everything done. He's always never surprised by anything. He's just always, like calm and chill, but meanwhile working his plans. He's scheming the whole time.
Indeed.
Okay. Hold on.
We can.
Hmm.
I guess we can go to the next question while she's looking that up.
Okay, so here's the next one that kind of goes along with this. So if you were to commit a crime, which one of these characters would you want to be your right-hand man and why?
Gotta get my right hand man back. Gotta get him.
Yes.
I think for me, I would want Basher as my right hand man.
Asher would be so
He-
much fun to hang out
he
with.
takes
Oh
things-
my gosh.
He gets things done, and he does it in crazy ways, and I love it.
He's got flair.
He does.
As Kingsley would say, he's got style.
Don't
We
believe-
watched that last night. We watched HP5 last night. We watched Kingsley
Yes.
say that. Just sharing. Anyway.
Nice. We were watching the third one on 2 days ago, I think. Because why not?
Always happening.
Why
Yeah.
not?
I mean, Harry Potter just had his birthday, so obviously it's a good week to watch things.
His
Right.
40th birth, 41st, 40th, something.
Okay. Who I would want skill set wise would probably one of the intel guys like Linus, who just listens and gossips, gathers all the intel about people. And then as far as who I would want to have on my right hand man, I would want I don't want to be racist here.
Yin.
Yin. I would want Yin. Yeah. I didn't want to call him one thing.
That's
and
the
then be so
Chinese guy.
different.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's what he is.
Is he Chinese?
I don't know. Let me look it up. He is from the great country of China,
Because that man is acrobat. Why would you
Born-
not want acrobat on your heist team?
in Guangxi, China, in 1982. Chinese guy.
I don't know if you noticed when they were walking away from seeing him, with his family. I think it was his brothers or his family. It was like, I don't remember. But they were walking away from the circus, and it was a Barnum and Bailey tent in
Yes.
the background.
Oh, I
did not
didn't
notice
pick
that.
up on that.
So,
another.
I don't know if you guys went to the Barnum and Bailey Circus when you were young, but they had that clown who was in the Ocean's 11. He always opened the circus, and he was one of the big characters. And I was like, oh, I forgot about him. He used to be there every year.
Gotcha.
It was a good moment.
Did
I
everybody-
would want my right-hand man to be Linus because of his pickpocketing skills. He would be my right-hand man. So Jennifer, if that's going to be you, then you're my right-hand person. Paul and Linus taking on the world. I could see.
Oh,
We need a spin off of that pairing. I love it.
I would want Rusty just because he's the one that kind of got most of this team together. So you really just need somebody who can find all these other people to also be on your team.
Yes.
Solid.
I love how they approach each individual person, like they know they're gonna do it, but they have to approach them in their own special way because they know how to push the buttons for each person. My favorite was probably when they got Saul at the hound race. Like, I'm not gonna do it. You're just wasting your time, but go ahead and tell me what it is.
I like how they got Terry. No, Terry.
Terry's the bad guy.
Okay, who's Monica
Money
Geller's
guy?
dad?
Oh,
Ruben.
Ruben,
Ruben,
thank you. Yeah.
He was so
Ruben, a
funny. He's like, I know what you're trying to do. What are you trying to do? Why are you hitting
He
your
goes, "Hey, those are Terry Benedict's places."
Yeah.
Marches over.
He's like, who did
I
you have in
love-
mind?
You got to be crazy. Who'd you have in mind?
You didn't.
Both of those two, like Saul and Ruben's gets are my favorite. And
Oh, yeah.
especially when Saul's like, I'm out of the business. I'm dating a nice lady who works the unmentionables counter at Macy's.
Oh,
He
man.
he just yeah. So
Off a
funny story
duplex.
about a duplex. Funny story about the guy who plays Ruben, who played Monica's and Ross's dad on Friends. His first wife's name is Barbara Streisand. I didn't know if you knew that, but they
Oh.
were married.
I did not know that.
I know, Babs.
Oh,
Yeah.
What a fun fact.
They have a
fact.
child. So there you go. Just
I
for
like
you to
it.
know. Mhm.
I love it. Mm.
All right.
I want some more.
Did everybody answer the right-hand man back question?
Mine would be Danny Ocean because he literally knows everyone, even down to the guy who's supposed to bash in his face.
Oh, I know. He's like, how's your wife?
Your wife's
Pregnant
pregnant
again.
again.
Well, that happens.
He's the one who's got all the plans and the deets, and he knows all the peeps. So I think he would be a good person to know.
Solid.
Can't go wrong with any of them. They're good. They're all good.
Definitely.
Yeah, and that's actually. Oh wait, that's a further question. We can go to the third one. We'll do them in order. What con was the most impressive?
So at the beginning, when Rusty and Danny are talking about the cons, they list all the code names for the cons. I don't know if you remember that. You're going to need a Boski, a Jim Brown, a Miss Daisy, 2 Jethros, a Leon Spinks, and Ella Fitzgerald. And I looked up what they all mean because I wanted to know.
Yes.
I was counting on you doing this.
But they're all code names for the type of con that they've got to pull off to get this happening. So a Boski is when Saul played Lyman Zerga, and it's a reference to Ivan Boski, a big-time trader on Wall Street who got caught committing security fraud. And the con is about a wealthy bankroller who has insider information. So that's the code name for that. The Jim Brown is when we have the confrontation between Frank Catton and Linus, when they pretend, Linus pretends to be from the gambling association, whatever, and have that. Miss Daisy refers to the SWAT truck coming and doing that whole bit. So that's what a Miss Daisy is, because of a driving Miss Daisy. And then 2 Jethros refers to the brothers who continue to all the things that they do. They just, the random pairs throughout, you need the 2 Jethros. Leon Spinks is the distraction in the form of disrupting the boxing match. So there's reasons for that, but I don't want to read it. And then Ella Fitzgerald is the pre-taped video of the security vault that was taped the night before. And it's a recording there was a recording of Ella Fitzgerald's voice breaking a glass, and then there's this like famous recording, and the voice says, "Is it live or is it Memorex?" And the concept is that Benedict doesn't know if it's live or if it's a recording. So
Are those?
that was a lot, but I love those, and I deep dived a little bit for that.
Yeah.
So
Was that?
So
Were
glad
those
you
all?
used that.
Were those all from the movie, or did those terms exist before the movie?
those terms existed before the movie. I don't know how mainstream a lot of them are, but some I think they kind of a couple they developed, and then a couple they're that before the movie. So.
Okay.
Oh man, no.
So which one was everybody's favorites of the con?
There's some more in there too. Those were like night of kind of deals. I can't remember. There's some others, so it doesn't have to be from that.
It could be any con in the movie.
I really liked the balloon boy bit. Oh, it's a little balloon boy. But they put it up on the cameras, and then they just keep spatting back and forth, distracting so that they could keep the balloons over the camera while not Linus. What's the nervous guy's name?
I can't remember.
When he had to do his thing. So, and then he's usually not the guy he's usually the behind the scenes guy. So him doing his bit, making Danny and Rusty nervous as all get out while they're watching him. And that guy's like running back to give him his phone or whatever it was. He's like, sir, how's the reception on this thing? Excellent.
He's just sweating the entire time. Sweating.
Every time I watch The Brothers, I always think of John and Jim. I'm like throwing at each other hard, but always scheming together.
Oh yeah.
They're funny.
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, so that was mine.
I like when they got the security camera tap in, and they were first looking at the halls, and I think someone said, why is every hallway painted that color?
Yeah.
And
I agree. That is such a hideous color. Why is
Rusty
taupe the one?
Brad Pitt's character said, "Taupe is so soothing." I was like, that's funny.
I think I missed that line. That's funny.
That one always stresses me out because I'm like, taupe is the ugliest color ever.
I don't like taupe either.
Good.
I'm trying to think. I had my con earlier on, and I'm trying to remember exactly which one was my favorite. Obviously, there's a lot of good ones, but
So, not a surprise to anybody, but my favorite con is Saul's whole portrayal. But you got to notice things. He stays in character the entire time.
Oh, he does. Even when the guy recognized him.
Yes, that guy recognized him, and he goes, "Miguel Vladimir," But then, even when he's putting his suit on, Danny's like, "Are you sure you're good with this, Saul?" He says, "If you ask me that again, Daniel, you will not wake up in the morning." He's ready.
Watching TV too.
And then the biggest notice though is right before the day of. He's watching, he's kind of getting ready, and Rusty walks by his room, and he's kind of sitting on the side of the bed breathing, and you're thinking, oh no, he's not. He's nervous, not doing well. And then in the con, he the whole time he's sweating, he's looking kind of sickly, and he falls over. And when you first watch this, you're thinking, he's sick, he's dead, like something bad's happened. But then you realize that it's a part of it, and you think even when he's in his room by himself with the other con artists all around him, he is still in character. Like he was just so in character that whole time. So I have a whole lot of respect for that piece. I like that.
Well, and when they told him to turn off the TV, he was like something like "make me" or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, sorry.
He's like shouting off in Russian, So I love it. I love it.
So good. I remember my favorite con is the con that they do against Linus. It's so good. Where
Oh.
Rusty and Danny have that big fight, and Rusty's like, "You're out, like you're off the thing," and then Linus is, popping up through the elevator, and all of a sudden there's Danny and gives him a small heart attack.
Which it's funny seeing Matt Damon play such like a wimpy character when like you watch the Jason Bourne movies and he's awesome in those. It's just like he's so diverse in his roles. He's good.
Oh, sorry.
That's another thing. That's another thing that's like I really like that how they kind of trick him a little bit there, because it's another thing that they've planned out since the beginning. They staged that fight. Danny going to talk to Tess was totally a part of it. They planned the entire piece out. And it just speaks to the movie. Like, you don't know their plan from the beginning. It unfolds, and sometimes you think it's not going the way it's supposed to, and it's totally like every bit of it is a part of the plan, including the staged fights and the other cons. Like Danny and Rusty are the only ones that know everything. So, yeah.
That reminds me of that episode on Community where they. Anyways, my favorite. Yeah.
Are you talking about? So Community reenacts famous movies and stuff. So there's an episode of Community that is set up like Ocean's 11. So when you're thinking of that, like that's a thing. That's what Community does.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. I'm like, oh my gosh, this reminds me of the Community episode. I think my favorite.
Oceans, 19 years old.
Boom, still relevant. I think my favorite con. Was the combination, I feel like, of the explosion that they used to, no, I'm sorry.
EMP?
No, I don't know. When they used the recordings to show, the video surveillance, but then also how they all ended up dressing up as the SWAT guys and were walking out with the money. I'm like, this is so brilliant. You would have think to check the SWAT guys walking out.
It blew my mind.
They like literally,
oh my gosh, how did they do
literally walked out of there in broad
So
daylight.
funny.
Just kind of, yeah. It's
They all
awesome.
flipped up their
I love
visors with
Saul
those
going down I love when you see Saul going down the elevator shaft.
Yeah, he's struggling.
so slow going down.
And I love like the double meaning of Rusty calling Terry, and he's like, "You're gonna help us get the money out." And even though like he goes on to explain one way that Terry thinks he's helping, but really Terry's helping by calling 911.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I love after you know what happens and you go back and you watch it, like Terry's interaction with the SWAT team leader, who's Rusty. Like you listen, you like hear his funny accent. It's just hilarious. When they call 911 the first time, you can hear Livingston, the computer guy, on the other end. It's really good. Yeah.
So good. All
Very
right.
good.
What's the next question, Beth?
What's your favorite line from this movie?
Man, so many good ones.
I couldn't narrow it down. I'd have to watch it probably at least 2 more times to pick a favorite line.
I'll go first. Give you some time to think about this.
I don't know.
So Danny and Rusty are sitting at the bar. Rusty is basically like just asleep, not asleep, but he's just staring off the TV. And then Danny says, "You think we need one more?" And he's like, "You think we need one more? All right, we'll get one more." And Rusty never says a word, but they are just such good friends that they have that silent communication. And I love that just shows how deep their friendship is and how well they work together. Again, like at the beginning of the movie, nothing was really said, but they like instantly conned everyone out of their money. It was great.
Yeah.
Two of my favorite, they're not all my favorites, because if I had to list my favorites, it would take forever. But 2 of my favorites are both from Tess. When she's talking to Danny for the first time, she's seen him for the first time in a long time. Danny asks, "Does he make you laugh?" And she says, "He doesn't make me cry." I love that.
That was a mic drop moment.
Yes.
It was. And then at the end, when they've had Tess see everything, they see Terry, rather take the money than Tess. and she storms out, and Terry confronts her, and she says, "Terry, you of all people should know, and your hotel is always watching." I love that line because he says it a lot. You know, she throws it back on himself. So,
Yeah.
good stuff.
I love, oh man, it's hard to narrow it down, but one that I really liked was when Frank and Linus are doing their bit with the gaming commission, and he's pulling the race card, and he's like, "You might as well call it White Jack." I love that.
Frank is such a funny character. Like,
I
he's
know, like,
subtle in the background, but
getting the
hilarious.
rental vans, and he's like, "Do you moisturize? You know, my sister, she uses that aloe vera with some sunscreen. It's just so fun. We could take
That
it
whole little
16."
just squeeze in his hand, you know. Yeah.
So yeah, it's good.
I love when Danny asked the big guy if like how he's doing. He's like, "How's your wife? She's pregnant again," or however he says it.
Yeah.
That just cracked me up.
Well, that happens. So good. Yeah.
I don't, like I said, I would have to watch that movie a couple more times to know favorite lines. But I do agree with Kinley. I like pretty much anything that Tess has to say. I'm like, you just spoken wisdom.
I'm so
there,
excited
girl.
for you to see the C12 now that you haven't seen. I know you haven't seen them.
Oh, yes.
Oh my gosh! So we're gonna watch 11 again before we watch it. Okay. Okay. And then you, Beth, you put the question, what do you think about the plot?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I would have to watch
That one word answer.
It's just
Mic
so
drop.
well thought out. Like the writing is just, they put so much into it, like making I love it when there's moments in the casino where there's like 3 different cons going on at the same time, and they're all just like the camera pans from one person's sitting there watching this happen while this is happening in the background, and this is happening, and people are walking away with yen in the box. It's great.
Yen in the box. That guy is the real hero of this movie.
How did he fold up like that? How does a person physically do that? My gut doesn't do that.
It's fine.
Oh man.
That's why he's called the Incredible Yen.
Oh yeah.
Plot twist, that box was really Hermione Granger's purse.
Think about my body doing
Or
that.
the TARDIS, either one.
What do you guys think about the plot?
Going back to Community, this plot has been recreated in a lot of other shows or movies. Some as like Community is a direct parody from Ocean's 11. So they do that with a lot of other random shows or movies, but just even that concept of the double con, what you see, like they conned Terry, but they also conned the audience because they've told you exactly what's going to happen, and then what you see is exactly not what happened. So they tricked you as well. And so that whole kind of mindset has been used a lot of in a lot of other, shows, mediums, whatever. They kind of stole it from here. Absolutely. So I love that plot. I love that thought behind it.
Gotcha.
I really love the brilliance of this plot because for the first time, like, you're cheering for the villain of the story. If you really think about it, like, the Ocean Crew is the bad villain of the story, but we're cheering for them and they get away with it, and we're so happy they do. And it's a really funny twist on, like, normally you wouldn't want somebody to rob a casino, but this is awesome, and I'm so proud of you for doing it. Can I try?
Yeah. Here's Carson. Say hi.
Carson!
Carson really liked this movie.
Who would you be, Carson, if you could be one of the thieves? Who would you be?
He says all of them.
Probably the Incredible Yen, because he could definitely fit in that
Oh, there
little
you go.
box.
Yeah, he could fit in the box.
He's been doing baby aerobics, swinging him from the little trapeze.
Yeah. All right. Did everybody answer that? Or what did you think about the plot?
I liked it.
She liked it.
Good. I'd have to watch it again to see if I would find any holes, but I feel like it twists and turns and goes back and shows you what you actually missed by the end of the movie. So
Especially
there wasn't
like
any.
going back and watching it after you know what happens, like you know what the purpose is for everything. It's like kind of like watching what was that movie?
Knives Out.
No, well that too, but not Knives Out. The one with Denzel Washington and he's blind. What was that one called?
The Book of Eli.
Yeah, it's like that. Like once you know the ending, it's a whole nother movie when you rewatch it. So
I love that you can keep rewatching it and notice things that you didn't before, so you're not going to get bored anytime you watch it. Or if
Yeah.
you wait a while and watch it.
yeah, absolutely. All right. Where was I? What number was that? 5.
That was
Oh.
5.
Do we have a favorite scene?
I love the ultimate con scene, just when everything comes down and you see that they're the SWAT team, and you're like, what? That's crazy. I can't believe they pulled it off.
Mind blown.
My favorite is probably. Oh, go ahead, Kenley.
No, you go, John.
Oh, okay.
You go.
I just love
You go, Glenn.
Glen Coco.
just like the very, very end when they're all they had pulled it off and they're all standing in front of the Bellagio fountain and then they just walk off one by one. It's probably my favorite. It's great. Love it.
I think we've talked about some of the my favorites, but we haven't touched on this one, and it's not my favorite scene, but it's a really good scene when they go to destroy the old building. They've got kind of the big crowd, and Terry's on the stage with Ruben. I love that, like, wherever Terry is in the forefront, Ruben's like right behind him because he took his old hotel. Like at the fight, Ruben's right there, like, what is going on?
Yeah.
All of that. He's in on it all. But Tess is there with Terry, and everybody in the crowd turns around to see the building demolished, and Danny just
Yes.
is in the crowd. He's just
And Linus
staring right at
watching him.
yeah.
Linus is
Yeah.
watching him. And then I love, and then like right after that scene, we switch to the hotel where Basher is working on stuff, and the building is literally exploding right behind him, and he's watching it on TV.
I like that.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So good. All the things.
What was your favorite Beth scene?
I really like when he comes out of jail, when Danny comes out of jail for the second time, and Rusty's there eating, of course, but his bestie is there to bring him home, and he's got Tess in the back of the convertible, and so they've made amends, everything's good. But Danny immediately asks, as soon as he meets up with Rusty, where are they? Because he knows that Terry Benedict is going to be after him, and so I just love how aware he is of what's coming.
Oh yeah.
2 Goonies to follow him.
Yep.
The twins, the
Sure,
adult
kind of
twins. Another, speaking of like him coming out of prison, that's another one of my, it's not really a scene, but my favorite kind of parallels. When he comes out of prison at the beginning, they give you the clothes to wear that you were brought in with. And so, of course, when he walks out at the end, he's wearing the tux that he was wearing that night. When he comes out the first time, he's also wearing a tux. So they never talk about this, but what was he trying to pull the first time?
Yeah.
That involved him wearing a tux. Like it's the exact same look.
No, he
both
seems
times.
like the kind of guy who would. That's just his normal wardrobe. There's a lot of reasons he could be wearing it, like just partying it up for no reason. Who knows?
I just love they bookend really well.
Yeah, agreed.
They do bookend really well. I'm with you though, Kenley. They leave me some questions because I want to know, what was he doing? Why did he get caught? Was he intentionally caught, or did someone betray him? And are we going to get revenge later? We never really addressed this factor. And then the other question I have is, what happened in Belize with Ruben?
Yeah.
It's like
I
the
know
Marvel
from that
movies.
thing. I
Yeah,
love when
they
he
should do a
says-
spin-off movie of that.
Yes.
That'd be a good
Definitely. It's like the thing in Marvel where they talk about Budapest, and we still don't know what has happened in Budapest. And so I just need a spinoff to resolve this, even if it's a short film. I'm fine. I just need an answer.
Just give me an answer.
What was your favorite scene, Jennifer?
I don't know. Favorite scene.
All of them, probably for Jennifer.
All of them.
All of the
Like we
above.
said, she needs to watch it again.
need to
So
watch it
it's okay
again.
that you don't have a favorite scene.
I think at this point, if you ask me, it would probably be in that final con when they walk out with the SWAT team
That's
with
great.
the money. It's just great.
Track.
Sorry.
So I feel like I always am thinking through, especially on good movies, how I would like them to keep making more. And so we have Ocean's 11, 12, 13, and 8. So if they were to make a new Ocean's movie, what would be your dream combination?
Hmm.
What story would you want them to follow?
I don't know. Yeah, there's a
I
13
knew
as
that,
well.
right? I knew that.
I think you did.
Because for me, I feel like we need an Ocean's 11 or Ocean's 13 and an Ocean's 8 mashup where Danny and Deborah come together to
Make
pull
it
off
a
this
team.
huge-
I want them to make a 14 where they explain why, or I want them to reveal that Danny's not dead. Because
I
it's
don't know.
it's an 8th one. So I want them to be like, I want it to be like an ultimate con that he was like a Matsui kind of a thing.
Oh yeah, he's not dead. I don't believe
I-
it.
Yeah, I think he's dead.
You think he's dead?
Kinley, he's dead. He's gone.
That's if you're gonna con the audience in the biggest way, you're gonna have them thinking the entire time. That's what they did with 8. We'll get to this when we get to 8. But the entire time you're waiting for Danny to show up. At the end, you're waiting for him to show up, and he doesn't because he's dead. That's the con. They've gotten you into thinking he's not dead. He's not dead. But I think the biggest con, for that simple reason, I'd love it if he isn't. I'd love to be wrong, but who knows? I don't know.
I'll tell you who
I
knows.
need.
It's the producer's
Sorry, go ahead.
wallet that knows if they can get they can get him back for another movie.
I need them to do a trilogy with the ladies so that we have
Yes.
8, 9, and 10. So that
Yeah,
it's perfectly 11.
there you go.
Yeah.
And then in
when
10,
we hit
I want
14,
to see.
It does look
Yeah.
a little weird on my shelf where it says 8 and then 11, then 12 and 13,
it's really disturbing.
and then a 1 through 7, and then we'll be okay.
Yeah, I need to see how like
It's
I really need to see the whole Danny Rusty duo. Like, how did they?
Ooh,
Become
like a
friends.
backstory? Yeah.
What did they help Ruben with in Belize? Because you know there's a story there. And then I want to see like what Danny got arrested for. So right there, I've got 4 films that they could make. They need
What
to
would
get
be
on
really
that.
cool is if they did like a backstory movie and they showed like maybe it was a spotlight on Danny and Rusty, but they had all of the characters in it and they just haven't met each other yet, and they're just like all in the same, they happen to be in the same place at the same time. They could do some really fun with the writing.
That'd be
I
really
think
cool.
it'd be really cool to have a prequel, Danny and Debbie, and call it Ocean's 2, and kind of just give how they grew up together and all that stuff. That'd be really cute.
Oh,
I
if they
think.
were like
Or-
little, like in like elementary, middle school, that would be the cutest thing ever. Seeing them conning somebody.
On
yeah.
their dates.
I need if they do we'll talk about this more, but if they do an Ocean's 9 and 10, I need them to bring back some of the original crew. I would love to see that that's how they get, because we'll talk about this coming up with Ocean's 12 and 13, but the additional players that come in to make it 12 and 13. I'd love for the 9 and 10, the additional players to be original players from 11. You know, I think that would be really cool to see, because we got to see Ruben in 8, and then we got to see the Incredible Yen, but I'd still like to see some more of the gang, you know.
Definitely.
Okay. When you have 11 of them, you don't have a lot of screen time, specific people. So, yeah. And then have any of y'all seen the original Ocean's 11?
I didn't know there was an original.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it either. That'd be fun
I
to
need
watch.
to. What a duo. Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin in the 1960s.
Yeah.
We need to cover it.
Does Frank Sinatra play Danny?
I think so, yeah.
That's awesome. Cool.
Sick duo.
All right. Well,
I don't know how much was original to this movie and how much was, if it was all just, I don't think it was an exact, remake.
Yeah,
but
it wasn't.
yeah.
I want to know. I want to compare them. So.
Yes.
Well, shall we rate this?
Let's rate it.
All right. Who wants to go first?
Give it a 7.
She gave it a 7.
All right.
You calculating?
Calculating.
Nice.
It may go up the more I see it.
This is
Right
really,
now,
this
7.
really is like one of my favorites. I give it a 9.5.
Ooh, 9.5. I like it. All right, Ashley, what do you think?
Probably 8.5.
I also gave it a 9.5 because it's
Wow.
Oh, he left me hanging. Let's try that again.
5. Weird. I gave this movie an 8.5.
Whoa. That's basically a 50 from Beth.
Oh my gosh, that's a Frozen 2 level for Beth. Wow.
I mean, it was written well. The plot was interesting. The characters were fun.
I'm gonna get blessed.
I didn't have any complaints
We want-
about holes or anything like that. So
Good. So that gives, with those 5 spectacular scores, that gives Ocean's 11 an overall rating from the crew of 8.6.
Oh my god.
yay.
Yeah.
Highly rated.
Is that our highest one?
For free.
It has to be.
It's
Oh.
got to be close. Frozen 2 is.
I guess we can go back and listen to
Someone needs to
them.
go back and
I'll go back and listen and keep a record. How about that?
Okay,
We
that's
got to have
fine. Sounds
We
good.
got to have.
All right.
There
Well,
we go.
we'll close this
11.
out then. And I guess we'll do Ocean's 12 next week if y'all are good doing that.
Sounds
This will be my
great.
first.
We're really just trying to, we're doing this series so that we can wait for the movie theaters to open back up, and then we'll start planning accordingly and get back to that. So thank you all for listening, and if you're awesome, you would please rate us 5 stars, drop a review. If you weren't going to rate us 5 stars, just don't rate us, because it'll make us go down, and we want to be popular. So
Popular. We
I want to be popular.
yeah, and if you're on Facebook, we're also on like Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and if you're on that, we're on Facebook. So depending on where you want to consume this media, you choose. All right.
I'm dumb.
Yeah. All right. Well, until next time, we go back tonight.
Woo!